What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to stream number 10. I can't believe we've made it to stream number 10. It is really amazing. Trying a new microphone tonight. Got a new camera angle. I'm just going to tweak you up a little bit higher there. You can be like, Adam, why didn't you get your stream set up before you hit go? And like every other stream, I pushed go in a flurry of panic as I tried to set everything up. So tonight we are welding fittings on catch cans. I've got some -10s, I got some -6s, I've got some -12s. And we're going to go ahead and, I don't know if you will get to see, but down here I got a box full of catch cans that need fittings. And we're just going to go until I can't go anymore. Going to be using the rotary table tonight. I've just got a little keyway that I screw into my desk, my bench, I guess you want to call it. And a receiving slot in the welding plate there, and always am using a Lazy Susan bearing on the table. The little keyway that I've made, I've actually just cut out of some plywood on my laser cutter, and next time I have some thick material or some Delrin on my CNC machine, I will machine a one-piece fitting. It's actually a skateboard bearing spacer, super glued to a bit of plywood and a bolt going through the guts of it. And I've just adjusted the fit using some electrical tape. Gets the job done, and that's really all that I care about. I'm just checking the audio on the stream, and the audio sounds pretty good tonight. So I'm going to start off by replacing the tungsten with a fresh one. We've got some 2% lanthanated 2.4 mil. I cut my tungstens down short so I can always just run a short cap on the back of my TIG torch. I have a short on my YouTube channel on how I use a paint pen to identify them once I've cut them. And I'm just going to check the gas. So I'm looking for 7 litres a minute. You're not going to see that, but I am. So a little bit high there. So if you caught the stream last night, you would have seen this rotary table, but I have it connected to my table with magnets, and then I obviously have this plate on, and then I have the foot pedal on my left foot, and I have the TIG machine pedal on my right foot, and I just do a little pedal dance as I weld these. But before I get too far into it, the other night I had a weld on this catch can that I wasn't happy with. So I'm just going to buzz over that, mainly just a nice easy weld to make sure I've got machine settings correct and that everything's working the way I want it to. So currently I'm running a pulse setting, 100 Hertz square wave with a -28 on the AC balance and a 60-40 split with a 1 second on time. Actually, I'm going to turn that into a straight current setting. 100 Hertz square wave, -28, 105 max amps on this. I'll turn you to the quiet camera. All right, wonderful. So the bit of trash that came through on the weld the other night is still in there. It actually boiled down to the bottom and I just sucked it back up to the top, but I actually I got a weld that is perfectly suitable for powder coating. This catch can is ready to have its fittings on, and I'm actually going to use this catch can to preheat some fittings. So I've run all of these fittings through the sonic cleaner today. Alright, so these are going to be a lucky dip. I have set up my laser pointer today. Which can be a nightmare to straighten up, but what it does is allows me get some bench space here, and I'll turn this camera on so you can see the laser. So you can see the laser pointer there. I have it more or less lined up with the center hole in my plate. So all I need to do is line the center of the fitting up with the laser fitter. Laser pointer. Which I just do that by putting my finger over the hole. Because I'm trying to level out this catch can to make welding the fitting a little bit easier. And you can see I've got a counterbalance issue here. Okay. And what this means, this run out means, is that the laser pointer is actually coming down at an angle. Such a pain to line it up. It's not something I'm going to do while I'm on stream. So it's going to get us really close, which is awesome. But there's all the pitfalls that I had last night rearing their heads. So normally how I set this laser up is I have a bit of tube that slots around. Where is the laser pointer? Up here. So I have the laser pointer on a dial indicator base. It's just a USB charged little pen laser pointer. So usually I have a piece of 5/8 inch tube that slides around it, and I can set it perpendicular to the hole. For the life of me, I couldn't find the tube since moving into this new shop, so I just eyeballed it. And I'm just going to rotate my prop around so it's not hanging so low. So using 2.4 mil filler rod on this 5356. I'm going to be using the mixed TIG setting. So last night I played around with settings, started on a setting, went all through different settings and then landed back on the same setting. So I'm on AC frequency at 120 Hertz, the balance is at -30. I'm on the mixed TIG AC ratio of 60% with a 1 second timer, and the DC, mixed to DC, TIG to DC level is 50%. We'll see if we get good or bad settings, good or bad welds rather, as we go. I did have to double pulse last night as well. just having a hard time getting comfortable during that weld. I did notice that I knocked it over as it was stopping and starting. But we will work through this as we go. So this one is going to have some -12s on it. I'll get those up there preheating. I'll grab another one while those fittings are heating. So this is a R33 tank here. So -6 on the drain. So some of the advantages of using the rotary table, or the advantage I would say, is that there's no stop-start or stopping and starting and relocating the part. Actually makes it use way less gas when you consider the post flow. So I think really worth the investment over time if you've got the work for it. Just that 6 seconds of post flow every time that you relocate the part, totally worth it in my opinion. Starting to get into the groove now. I feel like with the mixed TIG setting, it really throws me when it goes to the DC side of the cycle, and takes me a little while, I think, to commit to double pulsing, and 2, just to get in the rhythm of the AC/DC switching. If you've never used it before, it's a super bizarre setting, especially from just straight AC pulse. It feels like it's an earthing issue, is what it feels like. It feels like on that second pulse, it has lost contact with the earth. Now we've got it dialed in, I think. So I have dropped the frequency back to 110 Hertz from the 120 we started on. That is the only change to the settings so far. So these straight fittings where there's no angle on the tank is where the laser pointer comes in really handy. And the laser pointer idea actually came from Rob at Streamline Fabrication. He mentioned that lining the fittings up with a laser pointer one day, he mentioned it, and I came back and tried it, and a bloody brilliant idea. Be nice to actually get something like again, I have a full conversation with you while I'm in the welding cam. So I was just saying that the settings that I've changed, I've actually switched to 110 Hertz instead of 120 Hertz, and everything else has remained the same on the mixed TIG setting. And now we're getting these straight fittings on the inlet fittings on the tanks. These ones here are going to be a -12. They are super close together, and I may end up switching I might actually do it now, in fact, switching the gas lens out off of the torch. And I've changed all my drawers around, and have put my welding consumables somewhere outside of the welding table, which is not the wisest idea I've ever had. But I've got a lav on tonight, so I can walk around the shop and keep talking to you, and you should be able to hear me still. Okay, yes, so I've only got number 5 cups at the moment. Normally I use a number 4. So just swapping out to a new collet body One of those days where nothing is going super smoothly, but these heat shields that won't click on, is it, maybe actually, is it because it's a CK torch and these are non-CK shields? I think so. Okay, that's more like it. So put a new collet body in. Unfortunately, I'm number 5 cups. I don't know why I don't have any 4s. They're actually number 6, not even number 5. I got number 4 in a long, in an extended cup, but is that going to upset me to use it? I mean, I don't have tungstens long enough for that. Alright, well I know I need to place an order for some new cups. I don't know if that's even going to get me any clearance. I think this is all for nothing. So after all that, we'll go back to the gas lens. We gained nothing. I'm not going to go to the trouble of swapping out an entire torch. I do have a number 18 torch that has some number 4 cups, but I'm not going to go to the trouble of swapping a torch out. I'll stick with the number 20. I'll stick with this number 4 on a gas lens and we'll just make it happen. Which the only thing I'll do is add some extra stick out to the tungsten. Alright, we're back where we started. Alright, let's get it on. Well, the camera really shows how off-center this is. Doesn't seem that bad when I'm welding. I've just done an experiment to see if I've just turned the shop fan on. I have kept it off on previous streams because of the audio. Normally I have the microphone on a little arm just above me here, but since I'm wearing a lav tonight, I might get away with having a fan on. It's super hot in here. Really hard for me to tell if you can hear that fan in the background, but I don't think it's disrupting the audio at all. Find out when I watch the VOD back later on. Make sure that I turn you to the quiet camera. All right, g'day Chris, how you doing tonight? So that one's done. Try and get a space over here. All right, so R33 now, these are a little bit lower, shouldn't have to wiggle around as much. And the difference on these ones, the fittings are a little bit wider here. Compared to the R32s, and the R32s are, they're just old panels, so the product has been redesigned. I'm not really showing you back to back there, but they are so here super close together on these R32 tanks and a little bit wider on the R33. So future ones are wider. They were wider and then went narrow and then went wide again. There was two different drawings, and when I switched laser cutters, I gave them the wrong file originally. There was a bit of an issue with file naming. So I got a bunch that are really close, but not too bad to get around. So we're back to, these are the who makes these? Platinum Racing parts make these ones with the lip on them, and then I've got the flat fittings here from Velocity Motorsport. So the Dash 10 fittings are going to be these ones with a lip. Yeah, I'm going really well tonight, Chris. It's been what you'd call one of those days, but I got through it and managed to managed to make it to the stream almost on time. Yeah, the autocorrect gets me as well. So even on these wider space fittings, I got caught out with that gas lens. I think it might actually be worth me getting a second torch. I should actually look at getting a, God, I can't even think of what they're called, the torches with the interchangeable heads. They're not super flex, they're something else. To have a number 4, just straight collet body on it for doing these fittings. It's not worth making the compromise every time. So far this little camera hasn't dropped out. I have made a couple of changes with my setup tonight. One being the microphone, of course. Second one, this rack that I weld in, I put some rubber feet on it since I have cables draping over, or these USB cables are sort of draping over the metal. I actually removed some of the rails to give a good 6 to 8 inch clearance around all the cables. I've mounted both the cameras on blocks of wood instead of to the metal. I've actually shifted this camera to a whole separate setup, and I've put a rail in on the roof to run the cables that go to these cameras up and over instead of across the floor. And so far I haven't had a single dropout. I know every time I say that it balks the stream, but every day making a small change. Just listening to the audio myself, I think having this microphone is definitely a better option. But still no cables for the third camera. Everything has been delayed, so it almost got here and then got sent back to New South Wales, and it's going to be redirected in about a week or so. Yeah, I'm glad. I noticed the other night that there was a fair bit of static in it. So yeah, played around with where the receiver sits, and yeah, trying a lav tonight. So I've got the normal microphone that I use clipped to my leg, and just running a cable up my body to a lav. And I mean, I can only see the little graph moving, but it looks like it's pretty consistent. And for what I can hear in the stream, it sounds okay too. But I appreciate the feedback. Audio is the biggest thing, I think, for me. Tank got a little bit of a shimmy up as it was spinning there. It's a little bit rocky. It's just sitting on the welds on the back plate there. Really impacted my edge control on this side here. It got a rock up and I just popped the edge of that fitting, unfortunately, but worse things have happened, that's for sure. But pretty happy with how these fittings are welding. This first fitting that I welded, I didn't double pulse, I just smashed around it and then double pulsed again on that second one. Definitely get a nicer finish when I double pulse. But I'm just going to try dropping that down from 1 second to 0.8 if I'm going to continue with the double pulse. And I know it's not broken, but I want to tamper with it, so I'm just changing the mixed TIG DC level up to 60% from 50. So these ones are going to be not super fun. Just like where did my laser go, and I've got my prop sitting over the top of it. So these tanks are going to be -12s. And hopefully he'll stay sturdy. Looks like he's going to stay sturdy. pretty happy with that, but slowing the pulse down has taken a bit of the shine out of the weld. Or I changed two things at the same time is probably more my issue. But we're on to the next round. How are we doing for time? Been at it nearly an hour. Okay, so I really need to get this S13 catch can welded tonight. So dash 6 on that. So what have I just done? I've just changed the DC TIG level to 100% from 60. I'm just going to go straight into the dash 10s on this one. And these dash 10s have a little bit of swarf in them, or this one does. Just deburr him. I got the same issue as last night with the holes not being the right size because these are a new fitting and I haven't adapted my products to suit them yet. So I might leave this one for now and drill it tomorrow, unfortunately. But we'll keep on going. So another R33. Just gonna try, since we haven't had any cameras go out tonight, I'm gonna try locking the focus on this camera here, and I'm just gonna turn the brightness down. This may balk the camera, it may not. But I just want to try that and see if we get a better looking weld shot. I think there is like a cycle issue with this little webcam, but Why not, hey? I'll make sure I turn you to the quiet setting. Right, I wonder how that looked. I think it looks like it's mostly blocked by the fitting anyway. But the camera didn't drop out, and normally when I mess with those settings the camera drops out, so I'm definitely making some headway with the back end of the stream setup. I'd say definitely. Tonight we're having some success. On these fittings I went to the default Kemppi settings for mixed TIG, apart from the AC frequency. So I went to -25 on the AC balance, 50% on the AC ratio. I went 0.6 seconds cycle time and 100% on the DC level. And they aren't good settings at all for me. And while I was doing that weld, I was thinking I should probably try just some straight AC current. I feel like ever since I did the video on mixed TIG, I've been trying to force it to try and figure it out after getting a couple of comments on the videos and having a couple of private message chats with some people. It really made me want to figure out mixed TIG settings, and I think I have for the most part. Look at this fitting. The downside of this is that I can't show you things as well. There is a, has that updated in real time? I should probably apply those settings. There is chatter all down the side of this fitting from where it's been parted in the machine, I assume. I'm going to weld over it, but Platinum Racing Products fittings. I 100% know that they don't watch the stream, but I think it's worth noting these little flaws. Okay, so these are the same issue. So I'm going to want to drill all of these new build catch cans out that are going to be dash 10s. Your dash 10, your dash 12. So I've got this one, which is a little bit of a change. It is more of the same, but this is a recirc catch can. So see inside there is this hole in the side of the filter cradle. There's a tube that goes up the guts of this catch can to this outlet fitting at the front there. So it's got the same baffling system that my standard catch cans have, my atmospheric venting catch cans. So there's still that labyrinth baffle in the front, goes through to the splash guard and then to this filter cradle, which has E85 foam and then a fine filter on top. So it utilises that fine filter as a baffle and then recircs out of the catch can through this tube in a dash 12 to the intake manifold. So we're going to change the welder settings. I almost forgot. So what I might do is go into the weld assist feature. I'm going to tell this that it's a 6mm join and that it is a fillet joint. And what's it going to offer me? No, I definitely don't want that much amps. So dropping it down to 3mm, it's recommending 120 amps, which I'm pretty comfortable with. Actually, so the only thing I'm going to do on that setting, so we'll go, so we'll accept the settings that it's offered us. So 120 amps max on Optima Wave with -25, and it always defaults to 60 Hertz. So I'm just going to up that to 100 Hertz because I've learnt that anything below 100 messes with the electronics in the stream. And let's see what kind of results we get. So 120 amps, let me tell you exactly, actually works out to 94 amps with the cycle. So let's get in here and I'll bump those up to 155. This is on the foot pedal, so we certainly won't be, or maybe won't be going that high. Select that and exit out. See how we go. that camera doesn't know how to process that brightness setting. It is, oh, that's just for light control. Let me just turn that to auto. It seems to really improve the frame rate. That was a really nice weld. Could have used a little bit of downslope, but really it did button off really nicely actually, now that I'm looking at it come round again. Just felt like it could have used a bit of downslope or a bit more control in the pedal, but maybe the fancy settings aren't always the best settings. Really happy with both those welds. I think a lot of the time with me and welding at least, the success is very mood dependent. So sometimes I have great success with a setting and then come back to it the next day and it's dreadful, and then other times I can use the same setting day in and day out and it's bloody brilliant. The stream is reconnecting. The stream seems to drop out always around this sort of hour 15 minute mark. I wonder if that's a YouTube thing or if that's a me thing. Awesome, Chris. What welding table did you get? apologies, I heard that myself. There's a little too much heat for that little fitting. The minimum amperage on this generated setting was 84 amps. I'm just going to drop that down to 25. Give me a bit more foot pedal control. Wow, that's a big table, Chris. 2550 by 1250 Build Pro table. That's a big old heavy table. Chassis, boats. What are you going to be making on a table of that size? Alrighty, this will be the last one I'm doing tonight. I don't think I can sweat much more than I've sweated. I actually cut a couple of catch cans today, and I really wish that I was welding those instead of doing fittings, but I actually really need these catch cans to get to powder coat, like on Monday. Yeah, that makes sense. Just it's a really big table. Did you get that from Hare and Forbes? Yeah, definitely feel you on that. That definitely explains why you've opted for a three-phase machine as well. All right. All right. This final -6 welded on the bottom here. You can see these are still those mixed matched catch cans from the other night, with a tumbled panel on the bottom, tumbled panel on the side, and some laser cut parts. I think I'm still got a box full of random parts that I'll slowly get through with this mix match of parts, but when they're getting powder coated, they all come out looking the same. So I'm just switching it from Optima Wave to Square Wave for this last one. I'm going to increase my travel speed a little bit and see if I can get a good weld without changing the settings for this little fitting. I did, but I actually started in the wrong spot and got hung up with my arm at the end there. But yeah, got a nice weld. I did back off the foot pedal a little bit as well, which the difference being those large fittings I was peaking at, or averaging rather, at 101 amps. And on that little fitting, backing off the pedal and increasing the speed, I was around 76 amps. So that was switching to square wave as well. So probably found a non-mixed TIG setting that I'm pretty happy with there, or at least is a really good starting point for finding a good overall fitting welding setting. So back there, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half catch cans welded up tonight. Not bad for, where are we, an hour and 30 minutes. I'm going to end the stream here. Monday will be brackets and oh god, there's just look at the sea of catch cans, and there's a million catch cans to be welded, it seems. Yeah, so Monday night stream is going to be some full catch can welds. I have a new catch can, a brand new product that I literally just cut on the CNC machine today, and I'm super keen to get it folded up and weld it. There's a lot of differences. There's a lot of differences compared to these catch cans, but it looks the same on the outside. But yeah, just a lot of minor differences. So I'm really excited. Brand new products are always super exciting. So I'll try and get that prepped for Monday night stream, but it might just be more catch cans, more fittings, more of the same. That's all we got. Chris, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. It really means the world. I love having the company. It's bloody awesome. To everyone who watches this stream after it was live, thank you so much for checking it out. I really appreciate it. I'd love some feedback on how I can make this a better production. Tonight was the first night where there were no camera dropouts. We had a stream dropout, but I don't think that's at my end. Few more little tweaks to make before I think I'm ready to advertise that I'm streaming outside of the little circle that I've been advertising in. But I'd really love to make this a place for people to come and chat about building shit. That's really the goal here. So yeah, thanks for everybody for spending this time with me. Chris, especially thank you for spending this time with me. I'm gesturing there because that's where your name is. Really appreciate it, and have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.